What's up, everybody? How you doing? God bless. Hope everybody's having a good day. So, um, I occasionally watch the Joe Rogan channel and or podcast, and um, I've noticed, him and Eddie Bravo talking a lot of flat Earth stuff, and so I have a challenge for everybody, and I'm gonna do the math. And I want everybody else who watches this to do the math and check it. This is something easy and that anybody who can use a calculator or add can do. That proves, okay, this is math. This is a science. Okay, this math doesn't lie. This proves does not prove that the Earth is flat per se, but what it does prove is that the Earth is stationary or more stationary than NASA says. And as we all know, NASA means to lie, or to deceive, and it's actually a slightly different variation of the word NASA, but I mean, I wouldn't go take my children to be dropped off um with somebody whose name was Satan or pedophile, You wouldn't drop your kid off to be watched by a person with that type of name. At least I wouldn't. So why would we, um, take information from an entity that is its name is to lie? Because there's a lot in a name. But that's just, that's not science per se. That's not human science or math. So let's put all of that mumbo jumbo aside, and let's just look at not what the Bible says about the earth being flat or that it having four corners or anything like that. Let's just look at cold, hard science and math. And I challenge anybody who sees this video to lead me to an explanation on anything that would counter this math or a reason why this math doesn't make sense. That's what I'm encouraging anybody who watches this video to do. And hopefully, you guys, by the way, please smash, if you agree with this video, please smash the like button so it kind of gets into the algorithm and gets populated, because I believe, and I want Joe Rogan to see this because he gives Eddie Bravo a pretty hard time about it. So I believe, I know it sounds, you know, far fetched, but I believe Joe Rogan will get this, and I want him to, so he can see this, because I know we're all smart people, you guys, and so I just want to present the math and the facts so that you can make your own decision, because if they're lying about and again, this doesn't prove that the earth is flat. It does prove that it's stationary. And if it's stationary, what else are they lying about? You know? So I'm gonna open up the live chat. Hopefully it's working. So just bear with me just for a moment. Okay, cool. Oh, awesome. Praise God, it's open. Alright, so alright, let's get into the math. Okay, so I drew a picture. I know it's kind of crappy. All right, yep. So you can see it good. All right, so all right, so this is the world. Okay, now I'm gonna draw a mark where I know this is a tear. I promise my math is better than my drawing. I'm gonna put an X on California, and then X where Beijing is, okay? Just to show you guys. So here, and it might look inverted on the camera, I'm not sure, but it doesn't matter really for this. Okay, so here's Los Angeles, and here's Beijing, China, right? Now, NASA tells us that the Earth is spinning around at 1,000 miles an hour, okay? At the equator, okay? So the Earth is spinning around, right, at 1,000 miles an hour. And Los Angeles, basically Beijing is directly across the ocean from Los Angeles, okay? Now, typical a jet, a like 737, 747 that would fly that's the that would fly that does flights every day from LAX to Beijing, China. That jet, when it's up in the air, it typically travels at between 500 and 600 miles an hour. So what we're going to do for this math is we're going to do it half and half. We're going to say we're going to average it out that the plane is going in at 550 miles an hour. So let's put it on screen share, and let's look at how many miles are in between Los Angeles and Beijing, China, okay? Let's do screen share. This video is not going to be too long. Okay, so between LA, Los Angeles, and Beijing, China, we have a the miles in distance between the two cities is 6,248 miles, okay? And the plane that you would fly on goes between 500 and 600 miles an hour. For the math, we are going to do 550 miles an hour, okay? Now, now we've figured that out, so I'm going to write that down. 6248, okay. Now, let's look at the flight time, okay, that it takes to go from LAX to Beijing, China. It says there's 4 flights per day, and it takes 12 hours and 45 minutes. Let's just call it, we're gonna round things off in this mathematical equation. So it's not gonna be exact, but the math is so drastically different than what it should be if the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, that it doesn't matter. So we'll call it 13-hour flight duration. Okay, 13 hours. Okay, and that's one way. I mean, that's all the way through. That it doesn't stop anywhere. LAX goes right into Beijing. That's total airtime. Okay, so now let's go to a calculator. All right, so if you're going at okay, if you're traveling in a car, right? And the car is going 60 miles an hour, okay? And that means in an hour you're going to go 60 miles, right? We all know that. This is basic stuff, okay? So these planes travel at 500 to 600 miles an hour. We're going to say 550. 500, oh, sorry. 550 miles an hour, okay? And we're going to multiply that by, let's say, 11, okay? 6,000, so in 11 hours, okay? So we multiplied 550 times 11. And in 11 hours, you're going to go 6,050 miles. So this math looks like to be right, right? So 550 times 12 hours, okay? So in 12 hours at 550 miles an hour, you're going to go 6,600 miles an hour, okay? So that's well enough to go to Beijing. So what they said in the flight time, they said the flight time was what? Flight time is 12 hours and 45 minutes. And in our math, we did 550 miles an hour times 12. We got 6,006. So the math adds up to be about correct, okay? Because there's going to be fluctuations in the flight, et cetera, et cetera. But if the Earth is spinning, if you're going from California, you guys, if you're going to California to Beijing, and the Earth is spinning towards you, right? Because the Earth is going to be spinning, right, towards you while you're flying. Okay, so that's what NASA tells us. The Earth is spinning, okay, 1,000 miles an hour. So that's pretty stinking fast. And you're traveling in the air towards the direction that the Earth is spinning to, right? Just like if you were to take a ball and spin it on your finger, or just like the conveyor belts in the airport. There's these conveyor belts that you can walk on, and you start walking and you're like cruising past people because the conveyor belt is moving as well. It's the same physics. Those physics apply everywhere. That's just that's a law of the physical world we live in, right? If something is coming towards you and you're going towards it, you're going to um, goal, it's going to your end result's going to come a lot faster. Okay, so while you're flying to Beijing, China from LAX, from Los Angeles, the Earth is spinning towards you at 1,000 miles an hour. Your plane is going 550 miles an hour. So really, you should be making, you should be going in an hour. You should be making you should be covering ground at 1,550 every hour. You should be covering 1,550 miles. Sorry, it looks like a little kid drew that. That's embarrassing. 1,550. Okay, as if that's even better. So the Earth is spinning towards you, right? You're in the air on a jet that's going 550 miles an hour. It's simple, you guys. And the Earth is coming towards you at 1,000 miles an hour. You should be covering 1,550 miles per an hour. So now let's do the math, okay? So just as NASA says, right? Goes at 1,000 miles an hour, the Earth spins, and then the plane's going 550 miles an hour. So that's how much ground you should be covering if the Earth is spinning that fast, okay? So let's do 1,550 times 4 hours, okay? In 4 hours, if you're covering 1,550 miles of ground, okay? If you're going that fast enough and the Earth is spinning, if you're going at 550 miles an hour and the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, that's what you should be covering, 1,550. So, and we multiply that by 4 hours, and what do we get? 6,200 miles. And what is the distance between LAX and Beijing? 6,248. So you guys, this math, okay, if the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, all right, and you're up in the air and you're going 550 miles an hour, you should be covering Math and science tells us, okay? We see it on the ground, we see it, what applies in the ground is going to apply up in the air. Now, up in the air, you're going to experience drag, you're going to experience more wind resistance, but your plane is still going 550 miles an hour. That just means the engines are going to have to work harder and burn more fuel. So it should only take 4 hours, okay? If the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, it should only take 4 hours to get to Beijing, China from LAX, not 12. But if the math does work out for a 12-hour flight, just like it says here, 12 hours and 45 minutes, okay, flight duration. If the math does work out if the Earth is stationary, okay? 550, 550 miles an hour times, let's say 12 hours equals 6,600 or 6,600 miles. And so you guys, this math tells us that um, that the Earth is stationary. And so if the Earth, and I encourage you guys to do that math. Now, another thing, this is what another interesting thing, guys. So if the Earth is spinning towards us at a certain direction and you're going towards the spin, right? That means you're increasing, you're gaining more ground. You're able to gain a lot more ground in the air. But what about when you're trying to go away, when you have to fly to the other direction? What if you have to fly from like LAX to Florida or Atlanta and the Earth is spinning away from you? So really, in if your plane is traveling at 550 miles an hour and you're going away from and the Earth is spinning away from you, you're going in the same area as the spin. You're really in an hour, you're really only covering 250 or 275 miles of ground because the Earth is going the same direction as your plane is going and it's spinning away from you. So you should only cover 207. If you're going 550 miles an hour, you're really only covering, math tells you you're only going to cover 275 miles. So it's pretty interesting. I don't know. I've yet to have somebody be able to explain that sort of stuff, explain that math out to me. Gravity. Okay, so baloney. So what type of law are you what type of law of gravity are you talking about, Larry? How is gravity going to affect how would gravity affect that? I don't know how math and science is baloney. I I will give you I will send you $100 bill if you can come up with a answer that will make that math make sense. The Earth is rotating. What does that have to do? Yeah, the Earth, that's what NASA tells us, right? The Earth is rotating at 1,000 miles an hour. So how is the Earth rotating? How is that? Why does that how is that dismissing the math that I just showed you? Why doesn't math that applies in a car on the ground apply up in the air? Why would the laws of math and physics be different in the air? I got a backdrop, sis. It's all about the backdrop. By the way, Angela, about the comment that I left to your the video you were doing, I thought I hope you didn't think I was being a jerk. I was saying isn't that 1660? Isn't that in your you were talking about a Bible verse and and I thought it was funny because isn't that four digits that's in your phone number? Like that'd be to me that was funny. Which university is teaching what you are preaching? Um, Larry, this is every university, every school in the world will teach you that if you go, let's for instance, 60 miles an hour in a car, in an hour, that car is going to have traveled 60 miles. I asked you earlier why how if you could prove that what I was saying about the earth and it being stationary and the math that I just showed everybody how that is incorrect and why that is incorrect. And all you've said is gravity and you asked me which university is teaching what you're preaching. There's no university teach you gravity. What? Larry, that doesn't that doesn't make sense. That doesn't answer anything. I just all I'm looking for is an answer. I'm looking for that. I'm looking for somebody who can show me that why the math that I just showed you does is not applicable to that to a plane flying towards the direction of the spin of the earth and why you should cover more ground and why the math doesn't make sense that NASA says that the earth spins at 1,000 miles an hour. No university says what you are saying. Um, what do you mean? No university is saying that if you're traveling in a vehicle at 60 miles an hour that you're not going to go 60 miles, that you are not going to gain 60 miles of ground. I just took that formula, miles per an hour. It's simple. I just took mph and applied it to planes and flight time. How is that? I don't get what you're saying. Okay, Angela, I'm gonna hear me out. Okay, I want to show you something. You said the spin of the Earth does not exist. Um, I'm saying the math that NASA is telling us, and the miles per an hour formula, it's not matching up what they're saying. That's what I'm saying. Your time for the jet all wrong. Well, all right, Larry. Well, show me that. Show me that I'm wrong. Show me. Don't say things. Show me. Like how I just showed you this mathematical formula. You got to show me something. You can't just say something. That's nonsense. Okay. So, Angela. All right, Angela. I want to show you something, all right? Hold on. Let me put it on screen share so I can show you. Okay. Yeah, definitely, definitely, sis. I will for sure. I will for sure. But hear me out, sis, real quick. Okay. So Angela, you see here there's 6,248 miles, okay, in between Los Angeles and the city of Beijing, China. Okay. So 6,248. 6,248. Okay. Now, a flight time to go from Los Angeles to fly from Los Angeles to Beijing, China takes 12 hours and 45 minutes. So we'll just round it off. We'll just say 13 hours, okay? To ease up on the math. Make the math very simple. So 13-hour flight time, okay? And real quick, I'm going to show you my cheesy drawing. All right, Angela. So here's the Earth, okay? Here's LAX, here's Los Angeles, here's Beijing, China. NASA tells us that the Earth is spinning around at 1,000 miles an hour, okay? And so if you're gonna fly from Los Angeles to Beijing, the Earth should actually be coming towards you while you're flying in your plane. So the Earth's going like this, and your plane's going like this, okay? So let's go back to screen share. So let's do the math real quick. So if you travel at 550 miles an hour, okay, and you multiply that by, let's say, 12 hours. That's 12 hours. They said 12 hours is the average flight time from Los Angeles International Airport to Beijing Airport. 12 hours. And we did 550 miles an hour. Okay, so let's see what that is. So that says 6,600. So if you're traveling at 550 miles an hour, you are in 12 hours, you're going to go 6,600 miles. Okay, but if the Earth, okay, is going at is spinning towards you while you're up in that plane going to Beijing, China, if it's go spinning at you at 1,000 miles an hour, you should be covering 1,000 miles an hour plus the 550 miles an hour that your plane is going. So you should be covering 1,550 miles every hour because the Earth is spinning towards you at 1,000 miles an hour, and your plane is going, or the Earth is spinning at you at 1,000 miles an hour, and your plane is going towards the Earth's spin at 550 miles an hour. So you should be covering 1,550 miles every hour. So 1,550 times, let's say, 4. 6,200 mile or 6,200. That's how long it should take you. If the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour and your plane is going 550 miles an hour, it should only take you 4 hours to get 6,200 miles, which is well, not exact, which is pretty close to the amount of distance that it takes to get from Los Angeles to Beijing. So that's what I wanted to say. I think that's pretty basic math that that Larry here says is incorrect. So anyway, and just what I wanted to say. I just wanted to do a quick YouTube video, and hopefully this can get to I watch Joe Rogan, and him and his buddy are sometimes they're talking about flat Earth. So I mean, it doesn't prove that the Earth is flat or not. It just proves that until somebody shows me otherwise, it just proves that the Earth is stationary. So, and I mean, why would we listen to an entity whose name is lie or deceive, you know? Like, would you drop your kids off at a place to be babysat at called pedophile? No, it's stupid, you know? It's not smart. So, I mean, why would we take information from NASA? But yeah, Angie, like the backdrop, the ghetto backdrop. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, if the plane is traveling, if the Earth is spinning this way, you know, and the plane is going that way, you should, you know, it's like being in an airport and walking on those conveyor belts that are down those long stretches of the airport, and it makes you go faster than everybody else as you're walking on that conveyor belt because the conveyor belt is coming towards you and you're walking that way. So you're just cruising past people, you know? Right. But I what does gravity have to do with miles per an hour and flying? If something's flying just above the ground and you're going and something's coming this way and you're going that way, you're still going to gain more ground. I don't see what gravity that's what Larry was saying. Yeah, yeah, I agree. Yeah, yeah. Little green room. I think it looks better though. I know it's like the green screen, but it's real. Real. I know. Yeah, yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, until somebody can show me something different, you know, like that's there's nothing really to say, you know? Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. But yeah, did you have a good week? I'm gonna jump off of here actually here pretty quick. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it'd be the same thing like if this is you and this is what you're running towards and you're running at a certain distance, you know, depending on how many miles an hour you're walking or running, it depends on how long it takes you to get to this point. But if this point starts coming at you too, you know, if this point starts whatever you're running towards, if it starts coming at you as you're going to it, you're obviously going to meet up with it sooner, you know? Like it's just it's a law of physics. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, dark green. The dark green room. Not the light green screen, it's the dark green screen. Yeah, exactly. You never see it rotating at all. Even the still frame images of it, like of the satellites, you never tell that it's spinning or anything. Long week. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, how about I call you real quick? I'll just jump off of here and call you. Yeah. Yeah. It's just, right. Right, exactly. Yeah, and that's another thing. If you're flying away from the spin, then it's gonna take you even longer to get to your destination, but that's a whole 'nother thing. Because if something's going away from you while you're trying to go to it, it's gonna take you double the length of time, so as opposed to it being stationary. But yeah, anyway, do you want me to call you or okay, for sure. I'll call you in like 2, 3 minutes. I'm gonna hop off of here. All right, everybody. Yeah, do this math equation, you guys yourself, and look at it yourself, because like they say in science, right? The math doesn't lie. Well, why would it lie now?